The AFC South will be brutal to watch this upcoming season in the NFL. But first, let's start off with the favorite to win the division and the team that might as well be a lock to win it for the next couple of years, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Led by Trevor Lawrence at the helm, this team is clearly the favorite to win that division, and it's really not even close. When you have the best quarterback in your division, you probably are the favorite to win the division, as the sport is so quarterback-centric, and they're just fresh hot off of a playoff appearance and win in a historic comeback last season. They have the most stable head coach as of now in Doug Peterson, and they continue to upgrade the roster, especially on the offense, maintaining Evan Ingram and signing Calvin Ridley after his suspension was up. And the other teams in the division aren't just quite yet ready to compete. But at the same time, it's not like Jacksonville are some type of world-beating team. I do think a lot of other teams in the AFC are much better. The Jaguars do have a tough schedule. I doubt they win more than 10 games this year, but they are the favorites to win this division as of now, and clearly the best team in the division with Trevor Lawrence leading the way. Now on to the Houston Texans. I actually think they're a little further past the point of a complete rebuild as people think. It's still going to take maybe 2 more years before they get very competitive in this division, but they've just drafted so many young players in the past 2 seasons in CJ Stroud, Will Anderson Jr., Derek Stingley, Dameon Pierce, John Mechie, Tank Dell, and many more, as well as signing and re-signing some cornerstone veterans like Dalton Schultz on the offense, Laramie Tunsil on the offensive line, and as well as promising young rookie like Dameon Pierce. There's a lot of young unknown quantities in Houston, and DeMeco Ryans' job, new first-year head coach in Houston, his job is going to be make sure this defense is tough, which he has experience in his past in the NFL as a coach and a player. And CJ Stroud just needs to develop correctly in his system. And I just think they're in a big developmental stage right now in Houston. They have a good amount of veterans in that could lead this team, but at the same time, I like a lot of their young pieces. I don't think they're going to be completely terrible, but they're not really going to be competitive either. But given the division they're in, I think they land somewhere around the 6-win range. Maybe that'll land them 3rd place in this division. They're not going to be too competitive this year or maybe even next year, but you really got to like what they're building in Houston and be excited if you're a Houston Texans fan. The Tennessee Titans do not excite me whatsoever going into the 2023 season, but when did they ever? This team is not very flashy. They're just a tough, gritty team. They lean on the run game with Derrick Henry, and now they have rookie Tyjae Spears just in case as an insurance policy if King Henry starts to break down, which I don't think will be the case. Running backs tend to break down as they get older, but this guy is an anomaly. He's a freak of nature. There's no other human being on the planet like him. I think he still has another good year left in the tank at least. And then as far as the receiving core goes, it's kind of just sucks, honestly, outside of Treylon Burks. And then you got that the tight end Okonkwo. He was pretty good at times. And then on top of it all, you have a quarterback controversy between Tannehill and Levis, who I like, but if he starts, he would be a rookie, and that's usually not good year 1 in the NFL. And Malik Willis just is terrible. And then the offensive line was kind of bad last year, although they did improve it in the draft, drafting Peter Skoronski in the 1st round. And the defensive front is always good. Linebackers, D-tackles, always good on this team. Extending Jeffrey Simmons, great move by the general manager. And the head coach, Mike Vrabel, is a dog. That guy is a good coach. He knows what he's doing. I think the floor of this team is pretty high, but I think the ceiling is particularly low. Even in this division, I don't think they win more than like 7 or 8 games, but they probably finish 2nd place in this division, likely missing the playoffs next year. The reason why I think the Indianapolis Colts will finish 4th place in this division in 2023 pretty much entirely falls on Anthony Richardson's shoulders, but it's not necessarily his fault. I just think he's such a raw prospect, and he has the physical tools, so the upside is completely there, and I don't necessarily hate the fact that the Colts took him number 4 overall in the draft, but he's just not going to do well his first year. He needs time to grow and learn how to process and read defenses behind the line of scrimmage, as well as cleaning up some of those accuracy issues too he had in college. I just think the Colts as a team aren't going to make that next step until Richardson catches up to the rest of the roster that's ready, like Quentin Nelson, JT in the running game. And they got some okay receivers in Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, and I like that tight end Jelani Woods as well. The Colts have pieces, maybe even a lot of pieces, but first-year head coach, first-year rookie raw quarterback, doesn't really scream success in year one, and that is why I think they probably won't win more than 6 games this year in the NFL. This division is going to suck next year in the NFL. 3 teams under 500, and the team that wins is going to dominate it, but they're only going to be a 10-7 team, and there's no way they get the number 1 overall seed in the AFC with other good teams in the AFC. I think the Jaguars are a really good team and can be really feisty in the postseason, but I just think in the regular season, they're going to lose some games, especially to some of these teams in this division, as well as some of those out-of-division matches that I alluded to earlier. And I just don't think the Titans, Texans, and Colts are quite yet ready to compete yet, especially with 2 first-time head coaches, 3 rookie quarterbacks playing at a point in time this year. I just think this division is easy pickings, at least this year, for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But you can't necessarily be disappointed, at least if you're a Texans or Colts fan. I think the future is bright for these 2 teams. Whereas the Titans, I think it's a little more murky, but the floor is definitely higher and they can win some games. We'll see how this division plays out, and I love doing these prediction videos because it's so funny to look back on them a year later to see where I was right and where I was wrong. So, tell me what you think. Agree, disagree, somewhere in between? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching.